The government has been lying to your faces, everyone. The government has been lying to you. The first generational mechanics were not Mega Evolutions, as Big Smogon likes to tell us. There was one that was banned ages ago. Well, it was introduced ages ago. Banned a bit more recently, but Mega Evolution was not the first generation mechanic. It was gems. Hello, everyone. Great beginning, I know. Today is the 29th of January. It's been a crazy month. That's a lie. It's been a month of normal proportions, I'd say. But I thought I'd want to talk about all the generational mechanics, because that hasn't been done before. It definitely has, but you know. I'll start off talking about the Gen 5 gems, which are a generational mechanic. They were removed from all the subsequent gem generations, except for the normal gem, which is still in the game, and it was nerfed, so maybe they tried to keep the gems in. I'm really not sure. I don't know. We'll talk about Cloister first. A discovery was made that every move of a multi-hit move is affected by the gems. It's boosted by the gems. By the way, anyone who doesn't know what a gem is, it increases that type's attack by 1.5 times. So instead of like 100, it'll be 150, which is a pretty big boost, all things considered. And it's a one-time thing, so it's not like there's... I mean, the only drawback is that you can't run a different item. The opportunity cost of running a different item is the only drawback, which some would say not a drawback at all, especially in some of the cases. So yeah, Cloister, recently banned by the way, for Icicle spearing its way through Ferrothorn and whatnot, would have, before gems were banned by the way, before gems were banned, it would use Shell Smash, Ice Gem, Icicle Spear, and tear through everything. It would also use Rock Blast on top of that, so... And with Skill Link, you're not really living anything that Cloister's putting towards you. I'm going to try and get through these really quick, because we have 5 generations to cover. I had to think about that. Next up, Volcarona, who was probably the biggest gem user in Black and White. And the thing is, it could use any gem, so you really couldn't predict it. It could use the Psychic Gem, as shown here. It could use the Bug Gem. It could use the Fire Gem, just to eke out the last bits of percent that its checks might be able to stop it. And so it can take out those checks in 1 hit, or 2 hits, rather than 3 or 4 maybe. After a Quiver Dance, of course. A lot of people, when gems were not banned, they wanted Volcarona banned instead of gems, because, well, a lot of people thought that Volcarona was the main abuser. And was that true? I don't know. I wasn't around. I can't really tell you that much, but gems are banned, and it's a fairly, in theory, it's a fairly broken item, I'd say. And last up, this isn't specific to Gliscor, by the way. This is just a role that I'm using Gliscor to represent. Flying Gem Acrobatics. Flying Gem Acrobatics is a crazy thing. So, you know what Acrobatics is. It's a 55 base power move, but it doubles if you don't have an held item. So why would that help with Flying Gem, you ask? Because when you use Acrobatics with a Flying Gem, it takes into account that you don't have an item after you use the Flying Gem. So it's like a 170 something base power Acrobatics, which is huge for any Pokemon that's using it, Stab especially. There aren't many that good Pokemon that get Acrobatics, but I'm just using Gliscor as an example here. Maybe it did run it, I don't know. But I would love to tell you more about gems, that's a lie. But there aren't... It was... What I'm trying to say is I don't know. Gen 6, the Mega Evolutions. I'll talk about Mega Ray last, because... Does that even count as a Mega Evolution? Would you count it that way? I guess I'll talk about Mega Kangaskhan first. It is Ubers and singles, but when you think of Mega Kangaskhan in Gen 6, you think of doubles, you think of EGC, so I'll talk about that. It could be any like sturdy Pokemon. It could be any Focus Sash Pokemon because of Parental Bond. Parental Bond, by the way, I don't know exactly how it works, but essentially you get 2 hits on every move, but the second hit's weaker. So God forbid you have a Smeargle out that's going to get hit with a crazy big low kick and die. And it also has insanely, like, it's stronger than regular Kangaskhan is. And is also a lot more bulky. Well, not a lot more bulky, but more bulky than before. There are examples of bad Mega Evolutions which we will get onto. Trust me. Mr. Banduser over here, Mega Gengar. Almost banned from Ubers, I believe, but it's allowed in Ubers now. The reason it was banned, the reason it was banned from OU is because of Shadow Tag. Would have been banned anyway, probably. But there are a lot of sets this thing can use, and it loves this Hex Will-O-Wisp set. It can also run a Destiny Bond on any of its sets to really just claim a KO on something that it probably wouldn't be able to touch anyways. Or it can use Perish Song, that's it. It can use Perish Song in singles or VGC. Which, you know, has been done before in... I'm not sure, I don't think it was a World Championship, but Wolfie has done it twice. Once in Gen 6 with Mega Gengar, and once in Gen 9 with Gothitelle. That's the other Pokemon that gets Shadow Tag, along with Wobbuffet. I mean, we all know what Mega Evolutions are. They get 100 base stat points added on to whatever they had before, so that can create some very broken scenarios with certain Pokemon. Metagross is in OU. And it has Tough Claws. Tough Claws is like a built-in life orb on top of on contact moves. So Meteor Mash instead of 90 is... I've chosen a bad move. My mental maths is not great. 90 times 1.3, so just the damage is multiplied by 1.3. Hammer Arm will be 130 base power. That's an easier one. Instead of 100, which is big. And it also gets more speed. Metagross is like in a middling speed tier. A high middling, I'd say. Before its Mega Evolution, 110 is what you would call fast. Especially in Gen 6 before... Well, not before they were being faster was the norm, but 110 is still good. I have Mega Aggron in here for one reason, because my favorite Pokemon video of all time. It's a video about Mega Aggron. It's called Can't Outstall the Wall, and it's someone doing like an online battle in the Gen 6 games. And this is the set I used, Dragon Tail Substitute, Rest and Sleep Talk. And it was just... It has an unused WWE theme, The Wall, playing over it the whole time, and it's like an unbelievable video. Please check that out, it's so good. Speaking of Megas who... I should talk about Mega Aggron a bit more. Filter is a great ability. Filter, it decreases super effective damage by 25%. And with a Steel type, there's not many weaknesses you have. So for example, if you take a Fighting type attack and it was going to do like... I don't know, 125 HP, it would do... I've chosen a shitty number again. If it's going to do 100 HP of damage, it now does... 75, I think. I think that's right. Yeah, that's right. When you would actually use Mega Aggron, it would be more of usually a support set. It wouldn't use Sub, it wouldn't use Dragon Tail. It would probably use Stealth Rock and Roar and Rest and some other move. Because Mega Aggron doesn't have any other recovery. It doesn't have, like, Recover or Roost. You could also use... I mean, yeah, it would be more of a support build. It would be more of a... Like, yeah. Speaking of Pokemon who aren't that good, Megas that aren't that good, Mega Garchomp is not great. Now, sure, it has Sand Force now, and it has a really big attack boost to 170. The unfortunate thing is that, you know, a big part of Garchomp is that it has 102 speed. It outspeeds all the base 100s with a plus speed nature. Which is huge. It's huge for it, especially pre like Gen 7 and 8. where there are still a lot of base 100s running around, and that would still be like the baseline for fast. Now you have 92 and you're outsped by a lot more things, cause like, and that's not great. Are you gonna pass that off for 170 base attack when you're gonna be getting less hits in because you're gonna die quicker because your speed is not as high? Which is why Garchomp, Mega Garchomp is not in OU. However, you can't use it in any lower tiers because then that means you have to use Garchomp. Mega Garchomp is ranked OU by technicality, which if you know anything about like the Gen 4 one where there's like a bunch of Pokemon in OU by technicality, you know they're not really doing anything. You know, if you're in the same tier as Electivire ever was, then you're probably not fine. And it's not UUBL because it didn't get banned. It didn't get banned from UU. It's just not good enough to run with its son, regular Garchomp. You know about Mega Rayquaza. Mega Rayquaza, arguably strongest Pokemon of all time. 180 in both offenses. 115 speed. It has access to like all of the moves you could ever want. It has Dragon Ascent, which is it's just a dragon. It's a flying type close combat. Has extreme speed. It has Dragon Dance, or you can use Swords Dance with a plus speed nature if you really want to go crazy with it. It just has everything you'd ever want, and it's not even 4 times weak to ice anymore. Because I think Delta Stream, it removes flying weaknesses. Is how it works, I believe. So you're only 2 times weak to. Hold on. I'm sorry. I need to read what this is because I'm confusing myself now trying to explain it. Delta Stream. Strong Winds, that's not helpful at all. Any weaknesses from the flying type, okay. So you're only regular weak to ice, and all other flying type weaknesses are gone. You're not weak to rock. You're not weak to. One moment, please. You're not weak to. Well, you resist electric now, which is even better. And that's big because before you were 4 times weak to ice, and now you're not. Obviously, now you're taking regular damage. And with the increased bulk that this has from regular Rayquaza, which is, moment please. Well, it's a slightly increased bulk, but even slight increases are huge. 105, 100, 100 is insane bulk. And that's why Mega Rayquaza was banned from Ubers. It's in Anything Goes. It's the Pokemon that quote-unquote created the Anything Goes tier. That was actually Arceus, but we don't talk about that. Also, it can hold an item, so it's questionable on whether or not you want to classify this as a regular Mega Evolution, or whether you want to call it something else, whether you want to call it its own thing, because the primal forms are not Megas. Like Primal Groudon, Primal Kyogre. They don't count as Megas, and I say that because in VGC you could use them alongside a Mega, and you can Mega Evolve them both. Primordialize, or whatever you want to call it. Now, something I had a lot of fun researching. The Z Crystals were a lot of fun to read about. There's this big thread on the Smogon University page about the do's and don'ts with the Z Crystals. We'll start talking about Arceus Steel, who is one of the best Calm Mind sweepers in Anything Goes. But I'm not talking about that set. I'm talking about the Swords Dance Ironhead with Steelium Z. The reason I choose Arceus to display this is because Arceus in Gen 7 doesn't have to hold a plate. It can hold a Z Crystal of a certain type. And it's that type, so it replaces the plate. Which is pretty cool if you ask me. A lot of Arceuses still don't run it. Because most Arceuses run Judgment. If they're using special attacks or if they are just a special attacking one themselves, then because Judgment is a special attack. And also Judgment's not affected. Oh, what is it? So if you use Judgment, a Steel type Judgment with Steelium Z, it does not change to a Z move, I believe is how it works. Correct me if I'm wrong, please. And I thought when it first came out, I thought, oh, that's so cool. Arceus can like use these zoo crystals now instead of holding a shitty plate. I guess it's pretty cool. But I don't know what child me was thinking. Not even child. I was like teenage by that point. Azumarill. I find many excuses to talk about Azumarill. This is one of them. Z Belly Drum, which I mentioned in my video specifically about Azumarill. Watch that one, please. Normalium Z changes Belly Drum into Z Belly Drum. I know, crazy. Which heals you up to full health first. I've since read about it. Heals you up to full health, then you use 50% of your health. So you can do it from anywhere from even when you're slower than the other Pokemon. You're still going to be at 50% after you use Z Belly Drum. There are a lot of other effects that you can get from status moves. I would love to talk about all of them, but that's a lie. But the one we will be talking about is Z Rain Dance. Manaphy generally doesn't run this in Gen 7 OU, but I thought Z Rain Dance was pretty cool. It increases your speed by 1 stage, as you can tell by the nickname of the Manaphy I used to remember what it does. And on top of that, you can get that hydration. You can run rest on top of these, I suppose, if you're not scared of water absorb or something. And hydration does help with Manaphy's removing status at the end of every turn if Rain Dance is up. And you're also +1 speed now. Manaphy has always had like a 100 isn't slow per se, but it's not blowing out of the park in terms of speed or anything. But yeah. Another thing you can use Z Crystals for is getting really, really powerful coverage, which with Heatran, it uses Solar Beam to get rid of any water types that it hates. Like Tapu, which one's the water one? I don't know. It's not Tapu Bulu, it's not Finny. I don't remember which one the water one is. Give me a moment, because that's annoying me now. I never remember the Tapus. Tapu Koko's the electric, Finny's the fairy, Bulu's the... Is Bulu the water? I don't know. Gracian Z talking about... I just read it, I've gone past it. Oh, I hate you. I hate you. It's Tapu Finny is the water one. I thought Finny was the fairy one. Oh, it's water fairy. Oh. They're all fairy. Jesus. Struggling here. But yeah, Solar Beam, it becomes the grass one. Oh, I shouldn't have closed it. Oh god, I don't know how to... One thing I didn't research, because this was where I spent most of my quote-unquote research about the Z moves. I couldn't tell you how strong, how the Z moves work. $190 base power with the Z move, the Z grass move. Don't know what it's called. It's very strong though, and it will instantly kill any water types that you hate. Not Toxapex, but you have Earth power for Toxapex and other Heatran, I guess. Special because I've only ever seen this in Tem6T. And I've forgotten what it does. I am a terrible person. I am not doing so hot here. Eevee uses Z Last Resort, in other words, Extreme Evo Boost, which increases... Tell me what it does. Oh, thanks, buddy. Oh, come on, you're not helping me here. I don't know what Extreme Evo Boost does. It increases all the stats by... It's not 1, is it? +2 boost to all stats. Okay. Yes, with the Evium Z, which is a thing. Last Resort becomes Extreme Evo Boost, which boosts all your stats by 2 stages, which can let you baton pass it to a different Pokemon if you're playing Anything Goes, or if you're in a Tem6T video, you can sweep an entire team. If you're just one of the people that are just going to lay down and take it, like all the people are in his videos. Ignore the fact that it's level 50, that's just the set I chose. Last one, Mimikyu, who does not use, to my dismay, it does not use Let's Snuggle Forever, which is the best Z move name, alongside with Light That Burns the Sky, and also Genesis Supernova. These are all great move names. It instead uses... Oh, I forgot this one too, Jesus. I forgot the Ghost one. It uses the Ghostium Z move. I don't know what it's called. And Shadow Claw, it gets boosted up to 140 and can really put a dent in things that you otherwise would not be able to hit that hard, like Skarmory is one of them. And Ferrothorn too. Would kind of not woo you exactly, but would be able to put a damper in your spirits, and you have to try and get through that. And Ghostium Z helps you do that. There are much more uses for Z crystals, I'm sure. Like, I would love to go through all of the status ones, because there are some interesting ones. There's also Z Celebrate, which I didn't put in here because I realized none of the evolutions use it, which is like the only Pokemon I've ever seen use it. But Z Celebrate, Celebrate's a event move, by the way. Z Celebrate increases all your stats by 1 stage, which is very interesting. It's just the worst Extreme Uber boost, I'd say. My least favorite one, surprisingly, it's not the next one, it's my least favorite. Dynamax. Dynamax is dumb and stupid. It's very dumb. It doubles your HP for 3 turns, and it lets you use some crazy crazy max moves. For example, Waterfall will become a... I don't know what power it becomes. But Gyarados was one of the big Dynamax abusers because it would use Bounce, which turned into Max Airstream, which was 90 base power. I know that because there were 2 moves that were maxed out at 90. Otherwise, they would have been just way too insane. It will become a Max Airstream, which if you got a kill with it, it will become... You would be +1 in speed and +1 attack because of Moxie. Extreme. Max Airstream increases your speed by 1 stage. And if it's doubles, it increases your teammate's speed by 1 stage also, which is even crazier. God forbid you get up a Dragon Dance and you get a Waterfall, which is the Max something, or Max Rainfall, something like that. Which also sets up Rain. The Max Water moves do that. And if you get a kill, if you get 2 kills in a row with like Waterfall into Bounce, you're +1 speed, you're +2 attack. God forbid, and even if you get a Dragon Dance before that, oh brother. Holucha was another one of the best Dynamax abusing Pokemon, because it would use Acrobatics, which again transforms into Max Airstream. It has Grassy Seed here as well, just so I can get the Unburden boost in Grassy Terrain, which is set up by Rillaboom, or... yeah, it's just Rillaboom. And Max Knuckle, which is a stupid move name, but I remember that one. Max Knuckle will get you +1 attack. It's the other move that's capped to 90 base power. God forbid you get up a Swords Dance and you Dynamax into Max Airstream, you're then +3 on speed because of the Unburden boost. I don't think that's actually right, I think that's... whatever. And then you Max Knuckle and you're +3 on the attack, +3 on speed pretty much. The game's kind of over. Like, you can't really win there. It makes sense the Dynamax was banned. And the last one was Barrascuda. I'm not talking about Barrascuda specifically. I'm talking about a mechanic that a lot of people don't realize with Dynamax. There's people that don't think Dynamax should have been banned. I think those people are stupid. But one thing that Dynamax does, that I'm just representing with Barrascuda here. Barrascuda, I'm not sure if Barrascuda abused or not. But if you're choiced and you're locked into a move, you can Dynamax and get out of the choice lock, but keep the benefits of the choice item you have. So you can liquidate something, but they bring in a Water Absorb Pokemon. Oh no, what can I possibly do? What can I do to this Vaporeon? You can Dynamax and use Max Knuckle, get a +1 attack, and probably kill it. Terrible, terrible mechanic. Whose idea was that? Whoever's idea that was, I hope they're not Game Freak anymore. But they probably are, because they're probably the same person that thought of Terastallization. Terrible, terrible, terrible mechanic. Not as bad as Dynamax, I will admit. And I will go over this one very quickly, because I've talked about Terastallization at length, at nauseum, some would say, in some of my other videos. King Gambit, probably one of the best sweepers in Gen 9 OU, just because it can well, not just because, but mostly because of Supreme Overlord and the ability to Terastallize to any type, fire, flying, either of its stabs, and you can't know what it is. Essentially, it can be anything. If it's Terra Fire, you can't Will-O-Wisp it. If it's Terra Flying, you can't use a ground or fighting type move on it. And if it's one of the stabs, then there's not really a way of knowing that. You can't really respond to anything that Kingambit does. Annihilate terastallizes to take more hits, because Rage Fist, of course, gets boosted by 50 for every hit. So if you Terra Water and you're taking like a Surf, then you're like, wow, I just got 50 base power on this move, like 10%, 15%. And then you're just getting ready for a big combat mechanic sweep. And it also has Drain Punch, so it's very hard to kill. You can also run a Resto Chesto on this, which is a Rest with Chesto Berry, to just take even more hits. That's a bit overcommittal though, I wouldn't recommend it. Calyrex Shadow Rider. By the way, these are like archetypes of terastallization, by the way. Kingambit does it for setup. Annihilate is a defensive Terra type. Calyrex Shadow usually uses it as offensive in Anything Goes. It runs Ghost or Stellar in Anything Goes to boost the power of Astral Barrage, and also get rid of its 4x Dark Weakness into only a 2x Dark Weakness. You still don't want to take Dark type moves though. But on a move this powerful, on a Pokemon with this high special attack, the extra going from 1.5 on a stab to 2 times is insane. It's gonna really break things that could probably take a few hits from it. If it's a 3-hit KO, then it's probably gonna be a 2-hit KO now, because it's Terra Ghost and oops. It's a double damage on stab now. And the last one is Arcanine Hisui. I know, really a way to end it on a low note with Arcanine Hisui. It's a Pokemon that uses multiple of these. A, to get rid of a previous bad typing, and B, to get stab on a new move. So it uses Terra Normal Extreme Speed. It can use a Choice Band too if you really want to. If you really want to increase that damage. And it's very strong too, so. Arcanine Hisui, very scary. In UU especially, I've got myself caught out. Well, that was fun. Talking about all those generational mechanics, including gems. Gems is a generational mechanic. If you've enjoyed this video, then please like and subscribe and tell me what you want me to do in the future. Bye.